Hello everyone and welcome back to Learn Simple English, where learning English is easy and fun. I'm Ella.
Hello, Ella. Hi, everyone. It is so wonderful to be here today with all of you. I'm really excited about today's topic because I know this is something that so many English learners struggle with.
Oh, you're talking about speaking, aren't you? That's what everyone wants to improve the most.
Exactly. I meet English learners all the time who tell me they can read English pretty well, they can understand when they listen, but when it comes to actually speaking, they freeze up. They get nervous, they forget words, and they feel frustrated.
Yes, I hear the same thing. And you know what's interesting? These same people often have a really good level of English knowledge. They know the grammar, they know vocabulary, but speaking is still so difficult for them.
Right? And that's because speaking is different from the other skills. When you're reading, you have time to think. When you're listening, you're just receiving information. But when you're speaking, you have to produce language in real time, and that's challenging.
Exactly. Your brain has to work so fast. You have to think about what you want to say, find the right words, put them in the right order, pronounce them correctly, and do all of this while someone is waiting for you to respond.
Yes, it's a lot to handle. And on top of all that, there's the emotional side. Many learners feel nervous or embarrassed about making mistakes, and that fear holds them back from practicing.
That's so true. Fear is one of the biggest obstacles to improving speaking skills. People are afraid of sounding stupid or being judged, so they avoid speaking practice altogether.
Which is unfortunate because the only way to get better at speaking is to actually speak. There's no way around it.
Exactly. So today we're going to share practical tips and strategies that will help you improve your English speaking skills. These are real, actionable things you can do starting today.
Yes, and these are techniques that actually work. We're not going to tell you to just practice more. We're going to give you specific methods that will make your practice more effective.
And the good news is that improving your speaking skills doesn't require expensive classes or special equipment. You can do most of these things on your own, at home, for free.
That's right. And you'll start seeing improvement much faster than you think if you use the right strategies.
So before we dive into our tips today, I want to ask all of you wonderful listeners to help us out. If you're enjoying this podcast and finding our lessons helpful, please click the like button right now. It really helps us reach more English learners who need this information.
And please subscribe to the Learn Simple English channel. When you subscribe, you'll get notifications every time we post a new episode, and you'll never miss valuable lessons like this one.
Yes. And if you know friends, family members, classmates, or colleagues who are trying to improve their English speaking, please share this podcast with them. They will really appreciate these practical tips.
Okay, Ella, I'm ready. Let's help people improve their speaking skills. Where should we start?
Well, I think the first thing we need to address is the mindset. Before we talk about techniques, we need to talk about how you think about speaking practice.
Oh, that's a great starting point. What do you mean by mindset?
I mean the attitude you have toward making mistakes and toward the learning process itself. Many learners have a perfectionist mindset. They think they need to speak perfectly with no mistakes, or they failed.
Right? And that mindset is actually harmful. It prevents people from taking risks and trying new things, which is exactly what you need to do to improve.
Exactly. The truth is, making mistakes is not just okay. It's actually necessary for learning. Every mistake you make is an opportunity to learn something new.
Yes, and native speakers make mistakes too. We say the wrong word sometimes. We stumble over sentences. We have to pause and rethink what we're saying. It's completely normal.
So the first tip for improving your speaking is to change your mindset. Accept that mistakes are part of the process. Don't be afraid of them. Embrace them.
Exactly. When you make a mistake, don't feel embarrassed. Feel proud that you tried. Every time you open your mouth to speak English, you're being brave and making progress.
Well said, Luke. Now let's talk about practical techniques. What's the first speaking practice technique you recommend?
I think one of the most effective techniques, especially for people who are nervous about speaking with others, is to talk to yourself in English.
Oh yes, self-talk. This is such a powerful technique, and you can do it anywhere, anytime.
Exactly. When you're alone at home, in your car, or taking a walk, narrate what you're doing in English. Describe your actions, your thoughts, your surroundings.
For example, if you're making breakfast, you can say out loud, "I'm making coffee now. I'm pouring water into the coffee maker. The water is hot. I'm getting a cup from the cupboard."
Perfect example. It might feel silly at first, but it's incredibly effective because you're practicing forming sentences without the pressure of someone listening and judging you.
Right? And you can make it more challenging as you improve. Instead of just describing what you're doing, you can practice explaining why you're doing something or giving your opinion about something.
Yes, like, I'm making coffee because I didn't sleep well last night. I think I need the caffeine to wake up properly.
Exactly. This helps you practice different types of sentences and different tenses in a natural low-pressure environment.
Now, another technique that's really helpful is shadowing. Have you heard of this technique, Ella?
Yes. Shadowing is amazing. Can you explain it for everyone listening?
Sure. Shadowing means listening to English audio and repeating what you hear immediately after you hear it, almost like an echo. You try to match the speaker's pronunciation, intonation, and speed.
This technique is fantastic for improving your pronunciation, your rhythm, and your fluency all at the same time.
Yes, and you can do it with podcasts, YouTube videos, audiobooks, TV shows, anything with clear English audio.
I recommend starting with slower, clearer content, like podcasts for English learners or educational videos. As you get better, you can shadow faster, more natural content.
And the key is to really focus on imitating everything about how the speaker talks, not just the words. Try to copy their tone, their emotion, their pauses.
Exactly. This helps you develop a more natural speaking style instead of sounding robotic or monotone.
Now, here's another technique that I think is really important, and that's recording yourself speaking.
Oh, this one makes some people nervous, but it's so valuable.
It is nervous-making at first because most people don't like hearing their own voice. But recording yourself is one of the best ways to identify your mistakes and track your progress.
Yes. When you record yourself speaking about a topic for 2 or 3 minutes and then listen back, you'll notice things you didn't realize while you were speaking. You'll hear your pronunciation errors, your grammar mistakes, your hesitations.
Exactly. And once you're aware of these issues, you can work on fixing them. You can't improve something if you don't know it's a problem.
Right. And it's also really motivating to record yourself regularly, because then you can compare recordings from a month ago or 3 months ago and actually hear how much you've improved.
That's a great point. Progress is easier to see when you have recordings to compare.
Now let's talk about speaking with other people, because that's what most learners really want to do but are most nervous about.
Right? And I think the key here is to find low-pressure speaking opportunities before you jump into high-pressure situations like job interviews or important meetings.
Absolutely. You need to build your confidence gradually. What are some good low-pressure speaking opportunities?
Well, language exchange partners are great. These are people who want to learn your language while you learn theirs, so you help each other. There are many free apps and websites for finding language exchange partners.
Yes, and the nice thing about language exchange is that both people are learners, so there's no judgment. You both understand the challenges of learning a language.
Exactly. Another option is online conversation practice with tutors or conversation partners. There are affordable platforms where you can book 30-minute or hour-long conversation sessions.
And these are specifically designed for practice, so the person you're talking to is patient and helpful. They're there to help you improve, not to judge you.
Right. You can also join English conversation clubs or meetups in your area if there are any. Many cities have groups where English learners get together to practice speaking.
And don't forget about practicing with friends or family members who are also learning English. You can set aside time each week to have English-only conversations with each other.
That's a great idea. Even if you both make mistakes, you're still getting valuable practice, forming sentences and expressing your ideas in English.
Exactly. Now, I want to talk about thinking in English because this is something that really helps with speaking fluency.
Oh yes, this is so important. Can you explain what you mean?
Sure. Many learners think in their native language first, then translate to English in their head before speaking. This makes speaking very slow and exhausting.
Right. If you can train yourself to think directly in English, your speaking becomes much faster and more natural.
Exactly. And the way to develop this skill is to practice having simple thoughts in English throughout your day.
Like what kind of thoughts?
Simple observations and reactions. When you see a dog, think, "That's a cute dog," instead of thinking it in your language and translating. When you're hungry, think, "I'm hungry" directly in English.
I see. So you're training your brain to form English sentences automatically instead of going through the translation process.
Exactly. At first, you'll only be able to do this with simple sentences, but over time, you'll be able to think more complex thoughts directly in English.
And when you can think in English, speaking becomes so much easier because you're not doing that mental translation anymore.
Right. Now let's talk about building your vocabulary for speaking, because having the right words is obviously important.
Yes, but here's the thing about vocabulary for speaking. You don't need to know thousands and thousands of words. You need to know the most useful common words really well.
That's such an important point. Many learners try to learn too many advanced words and forget to master the basic, everyday vocabulary.
Exactly. It's better to know 500 common words that you can use confidently in conversation than to know 5,000 words that you can only recognize when reading.
Right? And the way to build speaking vocabulary is different from building reading vocabulary. For speaking, you need to practice using words out loud, in sentences, in context.
Yes. When you learn a new word, don't just memorize the definition. Practice saying it in different sentences. Use it in your self-talk. Try to use it in your next conversation.
Exactly. Active use is the key. The more times you actually say a word out loud, the more easily it will come to you when you need it in a real conversation.
Now, I want to talk about fluency versus accuracy, because I think many learners focus too much on one and not enough on the other.
Oh, this is interesting. What do you mean?
Well, fluency is about speaking smoothly and naturally without too many pauses and hesitations. Accuracy is about using correct grammar and pronunciation. Both are important, but you need to balance them.
Right. Some learners are so worried about making grammar mistakes that they speak very slowly and cautiously. They're accurate, but they're not fluent.
Exactly. And other learners speak very quickly and fluently, but they make a lot of errors because they're not paying attention to accuracy.
So the goal is to find a balance. You want to speak smoothly and naturally, but you also want to be understood and use English correctly.
Right? And my advice is to focus on fluency first when you're just starting out. Get comfortable expressing your ideas even if you make mistakes. Then, as you improve, you can work on accuracy.
That makes sense. Because if you can't express your ideas at all, it doesn't matter how accurate your grammar is.
Exactly. Communication is the goal, and sometimes getting your message across with a few errors is better than being silent because you're afraid of making mistakes.
Well said. Now, let's talk about using filler words and phrases because these can really help you sound more natural and give you time to think.
Oh yes, filler words are so useful for learners. What are some good ones?
Native speakers use filler words like well, you know. I mean, let me think. Actually, basically. These little words give you a moment to think without awkward silence.
Right. When you need a second to find the right word, you can say or let me think, instead of just stopping completely and creating uncomfortable silence.
Exactly. And phrases like, "That's a good question," or "How can I say this?" are also useful when you need time to formulate your answer.
Yes, and these phrases make you sound more natural, because native speakers use them all the time.
Right? Just don't overuse them. A few filler words are natural, but too many can make you sound uncertain.
Good point. Now I think we should practice some of these techniques in a conversation so people can hear how they work in real life.
Great idea. Let's imagine I'm an English learner who's nervous about speaking, and you're giving me encouragement and tips.
Okay, sounds good. I'll start. So Ella, I know you've been studying English for a while. How do you feel about your speaking skills?
Well, honestly, I'm not very confident. I can read and write okay, but when I try to speak, I get really nervous and I forget all the words I know.
That's completely normal. So many learners feel exactly the same way. Can you tell me about a time when you tried to speak English? What happened?
Okay, so let me think. Last week, I was at a cafe, and the barista asked me a question in English. I understood what she said, but I couldn't answer. My mind just went blank, and I felt so embarrassed.
I understand that feeling. But you know what? The fact that you understood her question shows your English is pretty good. The speaking part just needs more practice. Have you tried practicing speaking on your own at home?
Not really. I mean, I don't know how to practice by myself. It feels weird to talk to myself.
I know it feels weird at first, but talking to yourself is actually one of the most effective ways to practice. You could start by describing what you're doing during your daily routine. Like when you're making breakfast, just say out loud what you're doing.
Oh, that's interesting. So I could say things like, I'm making coffee, or I'm pouring milk.
Exactly. And you know what? You just did it naturally right now. You gave me examples without hesitation. That's already progress.
You're right. I didn't even think about it. Okay, so maybe self-talk isn't so scary after all.
Not scary at all. And here's another tip. Try recording yourself for just 2 minutes, talking about any topic. Maybe your favorite food or your daily routine. Then listen back and notice your mistakes without judging yourself too harshly.
That sounds helpful, but also a bit scary. What if I make a lot of mistakes?
Then you'll know what to work on. Every mistake is information. It tells you what you need to practice. And I promise, when you listen to a recording from 3 months ago and compare it to today, you'll be amazed at how much you've improved.
Okay, I'll try it. Actually, I'm feeling a bit more confident just from this conversation.
That's wonderful. And that's exactly the point. The more you speak, even in low-pressure situations like this, the more comfortable you become.
Okay, let's pause there. That was a really natural conversation, and I think it showed how speaking practice can happen in a comfortable, supportive environment.
Yes, and did you notice how you used filler words like, well, honestly? And let me think? Those are perfectly natural, and they gave you time to formulate your thoughts.
You're right. I didn't even realize I was using them. They just came naturally.
Exactly. And that's what happens when you relax and just focus on communicating rather than being perfect.
Now, before we finish today's episode, let's talk about some common mistakes people make when trying to improve their speaking skills.
Good idea. The first mistake is not speaking enough. Some people study grammar and vocabulary for months but never actually practice speaking.
Right? You can't improve speaking without speaking. It's like trying to learn to swim by reading about swimming but never getting in the water.
Exactly. Another mistake is only practicing with textbook dialogues and scripted conversations. Real conversations are messy and unpredictable, so you need to practice spontaneous speaking too.
Yes. And another mistake is giving up too quickly. Speaking improvement takes time. You won't sound fluent after 1 week of practice.
Right. It's a gradual process. Some days you'll feel like you're making progress, and other days you'll feel like you're getting worse. That's completely normal.
And one more mistake is being too hard on yourself. Remember, even advanced speakers make mistakes. The goal is communication, not perfection.
Well said. Now let's do a quick summary of all the tips we talked about today.
Great idea. First, change your mindset. Accept that mistakes are part of learning and don't be afraid of them.
Second, practice self-talk. Narrate your day in English when you're alone.
Third, try shadowing. Listen to English audio and repeat what you hear immediately, copying pronunciation and intonation.
Fourth, record yourself speaking and listen back to identify mistakes and track progress.
Fifth, find low-pressure speaking opportunities like language exchange partners, online tutors, or conversation clubs.
Sixth, train yourself to think in English instead of translating from your native language.
Seventh, focus on learning and using common, practical vocabulary rather than memorizing thousands of advanced words.
Eighth, balance fluency and accuracy. Focus on expressing your ideas smoothly, then work on correctness.
And ninth, use filler words naturally to give yourself time to think without awkward silence.
Those are 9 powerful strategies that will really help you improve your speaking skills if you apply them consistently.
Exactly. And remember, improvement takes time and regular practice. Be patient with yourself and celebrate small wins.
Well, everyone, we've reached the end of today's episode. I hope you found these tips helpful and practical.
We would love to hear from you. In the comments below, please tell us what your biggest challenge is with English speaking. What makes speaking difficult for you?
Yes, and tell us which tip from today's lesson you're going to try first. We read all of your comments, and your feedback helps us create better lessons for you.
And if you found this episode valuable and you learned something that will help you improve your speaking, please remember to like this video. It really helps us reach more English learners who need this information.
Please subscribe to Learn Simple English so you don't miss our weekly episodes. We have so many more helpful lessons planned for you.
And please share this podcast with anyone you know who's trying to improve their English speaking skills. These tips can really make a difference for them.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us today. You're all doing an amazing job with your English learning, and we're so proud of your dedication.
Yes, keep practicing, keep speaking, keep making mistakes, and keep improving. Every conversation you have in English makes you better, even if it doesn't feel like it.
We'll see you in the next episode. Until then, stay curious, stay brave, and keep speaking.
Goodbye, everyone. Remember, you can do this.
Bye-bye. We believe in you.